Okay, let's be honest. One of the greatest villains ever to hit TV was the Borg. That's the thing. Everything about them, the fact they looked simply unbeatable, you had to work together, and they just wailed on the people at first. And it's a cube flying through space. It's great. So now, when I heard that Star Trek Star Realms was going to have Borg invasion, they're going to start off with this, I was pretty excited. Wasn't so excited to buy it. I tried to resist, but resistance is futile. See that? It's a Borg thing. Anyway, before I talk about what I thought about this expansion, I'm going to first go over how it's played. Okay, we are set up for a game of Star Trek Star Realms, the Borg Invasion. This is the instruction booklet right here. I'm not going to go into how to play Star Realms. That is available elsewhere here on the channel. And Star Trek Star Realms, I actually went over that as well. So to play the game, you got to look into that. I'm just going to show you what the Borg invasion really does. Also, I'm going to focus on the cooperative mode, which is why I bought this. There's also PvP. I will mention I'm not as interested in that. Didn't play it because Star Realms itself is a great PvP game. But first off, let's show you what comes in there. Obviously, the instruction booklet here that goes into what is in the box, and the majority of it does cover the cooperative and the solo, because that is kind of the main crux of this expansion. But if you want to do PvP, there are other rules for that as well, like later, way back here we go. So there's a little bit on PvP if you want to put them on there as well. So pretty much what you get is, we'll go over these cards here in a moment, but you're going to get PvP cards right here. Those are denoted right up here in the corner. Let's see if I can get that to focus on this. Right up here, that shows that as a PvP card, only used in the PvP version of the game. Also, Hive integration cards, which we'll go to in a moment. Those actually have this symbol on the back because those will be used differently in the PvP, but in co-op and solo, we will be using this side. And again, I'm going to go to what that means in a moment. And then you're going to get Borg Cube. The one you're going to fight against depends on how many players. We're using 3 players in this kind of demo. So we're using the Borg Cube. There's also Borg Sphere and Tactical Cube right here. And on the back, it kind of gives, again, a reference card for what happens in the turns, drones, force fields, all of that. Now, before we go into cooperative, I will show you that it also comes with some gambits. Gambits are not new to this. They're new to this Star Trek Realms now, but they were in Star Realms before. Gambits are something you can hand out to give like a one-time boon to people. They're not, you don't have to use them. You can use them with the base game anytime you want to. And what they're going to do, for example, you're going to hand these out. People have them, and they have, when you reveal this gambit, you may pay the cost of a card in the scrapyard and put it into your hand. So all of this right here, these kind of give little boons that happen throughout there. So these are optional things you can play with the Borg, or you can play them with your normal Star Trek Star Realms. But let's get into the crux of what this cooperative game does. Okay, you'll notice it's all set up right here, just like normal Star Realms is, the Star Trek Star Realms is set up. But in here, you're going to put the trade row out there. Then you're also going to shuffle these drone cards into the actual trade deck. Right, I didn't have them in here, obviously, because I want to show them to you. But these will be shuffled in after this flops, because these are going to do things for the Borg, for the co-op of the Borg right here. So these are going to be in there as well. And all the players are going to work together to defeat the Borg. And then if all the players are eliminated, they lose the game. But of course, if you beat the Borg, that's how you win. And how do you do that? So first off, the Borg is going to assimilate. That's the real way they're going to go ahead and do attacks and really build their strength. So first off, you're going to go, the Borg is going to go, then all the players are going to go, then the Borg is going to go, and all the players are going to go. There are also going to be some interruptions in there as well. How does the Borg go? First off, you've got the Borg Cube. When they activate, the Borg Cube will take any assimilated cards from the Borg ship to the collective. We'll get to what that means in a moment. There's nothing here now. This is just kind of the hit points, which can be placed anywhere. I placed them here to be on camera. So you have 50 hit points in this situation because there's 3 players. Now the Borg Cube is going to move towards the highest cost card in the market row. Here it would be right here. It is a 5. So it's going to move 1 step just like that. Then it is going to assimilate the card that is lined up with the Borg Cube. Because you take a look right here, it's lined up with this. So then you take this card, and it is now, right here, see if I can get it to focus on that. So it is now going to be placed on the Borg cube. So that is now being assimilated. And next, at the next turn, it's going to go to the collective, which is going to be bad. The more here, that's the harder it's going to hit you. But for right now, it's here. It can be saved. But now when it gets assimilated, that's when this hive integration comes. You'll notice right here, it is the Federation faction. All of these do have different factions. These are the base game factions here. Because this is the Federation faction, the hive integration pops off right here. So you're going to read this. So this happens every time a card is assimilated from that faction. If it's a Federation, the board game authority equal to the cost of the assimilated card. Authority is pretty much hit points, all right? So in other words, because that's a 3, it's going to gain 3 hit points, and it will have 53. Let's take a look at the other ones. This one right here, all players choose and discard cards from their hand based on the cost of the assimilated card. So 1 to 3, you discard a card. 4 to 6, discard 2. 7 up, discard 3 cards. That's pretty brutal. This one right here, this one I hate. This right here, the Borg assimilate a ship with the highest cost from any discard pile. That is brutal. All right, so then right here on the Romulan one, the player with the highest authority immediately takes damage equal to the cost of assimilated card. So if this was Romulan, then the person with the highest health would take 3 hits. So that's going to pop off every single time a card is assimilated, which happens during the turn, but can also happen various times throughout the game. And then once it's assimilated as normal, the market is refreshed with a different card. Now, it's going to then, once it does all this, the assimilation happens, it's going to now attack. The way it attacks is the number of cards it has in the collective. Now it's 0. But as, like I said, the next time this is going to move to the collective, the more cards it has, that's how strong the attacks are. So it's good if it has 4 cards on there, it's going to attack every player to 4. So 4 hit points to every single player. And the way the Borg attacks, say it's attacking for 4, first thing it's going to attack are the outpost locations, like this right here, the ones with the little red shield. All right, it's going to hit those first if it can destroy them. So if it has 5, it's going to take that out. If it can't do that, it moves on to see if it can eliminate a player directly. If it can eliminate a player directly, they are eliminated. Like if you have 4 hit points, it has 5, it's going to take you out. Then after that, it's going to move on, and it's going to attack locations, which are the kind of gray shield here. So if it can take out a location, it will take out the location. And if it can't do that, then it's just going to go straight to the person. So it's that those hit points are going to go directly off of your overall hit points. And that's how it attacks. So it's going to attack, go through all those 4. Whichever it can attack, it goes through that. And that is its turn. It's going to do that to every single person. Okay, so now player turn. That's when we get to go. As usual, this is a deck building game, so you are going to have a hand of cards like this. The coins, these are from the base game. The coins are going to be how you go ahead and buy these, and then you're also going to have attack as well. So what happens? Again, you buy these as normal, but then you could attack the Borg ship as usual. So you could attack this Borg ship here and start removing some of those 50 hit points it has. Or you can use your attack to bring this back. So notice it's a 3. If I use 3 attack, if I drop down 3 attack points, I could then take this back and put it into my discard. All right, so what that does is that actually gives me another card in my deck, which is great in a deck building game, but it also makes it to where it cannot move that to the collective to be 1 extra hit it's going to do every time. So you have the choice of either attacking the Borg cube or attacking this card to save it, essentially, and pull it back over here, and then also it's not going to make that kind of Borg power up. But then there's one more thing, too, that's going to happen is later, as you buy cards, like I said, these drone cards have been shuffled in here. So if a drone, say you flip the next card, a drone comes out and goes out in the market row, well, it's going to go to that player who it's their turn. It's going to go in front of them. And then you keep going, like say there's a second drone that comes out. Well, that's going to go in front of you until you have all the 5 in the market. All right, so the drone is going to go in front of the active player that flipped it. So what do drones do? Well, if you have a couple of drones in front of you, the drones are sitting there on your ship, and they're trying to assimilate your crew. So if there's 1, it's going to search for anything that's value is 1 or less in your discard. So if you have 1 with, let's see if I can get that to focus here. Here we go. If you can get this, if you can have something in your hand, in your deck, sorry, your discard pile, that is 1 or less, it's going to then take that back. But say you have 2 of these in front of you. Well, 2 will immediately take something of 2 or less and take it to the Borg ship. So, for example, if you have over here, if there are 3 right here. These are placed in front of you. You've got this outpost that we just got in your discard pile. Well, they're going to beam it back to the ship, and then these drones are going to go into scrap right here. Because they've done their job, they've pulled them over. So those drones are going to start going to people as they pop off and go into the market row. Now, how do you get rid of them? Well, your attack, like I said, your attack can do on the Borg cube, can attack to buy this card, or you can attack these drones in front of you to remove them. And as you do that, then they're now going to get those more powerful cards and pull them back. Okay, and one more thing for attacking. This is something that I wanted to mention because this is like my favorite part of this. This really gives the whole Borg theme. As you attack the Borg, whether or not you attack, this or that, when you use attack points in combat against the Borg, whatever faction does the most damage that turn. So say you use Romulan to do 3 and then Federation to do 2. At the end of your turn, if say Romulan's the highest, the Borg then gets a force field for that. And that's placed over here. So now, any other player cannot do damage to the Borg using the Romulan faction, which is crazy, right? So then, the next one, they might go ahead and do Klingon, all right? Because they don't have Romulan there, because you can't do that. Now, you keep doing that, so there's all of these here. There's also a neutral. So if it's a neutral faction, like one of your starting cards or whatever, that is a force field that drops. So then, next time someone might do Federation. All right? So they do that, there are 3 force fields, and any time at the end, if there's 3 force fields out there, they wipe. And then you can attack using anything again. But again, whatever does the most damage, that force field gets dropped. So people kind of have to diversify their deck. And that's the big thing about this. When you attack the Borg, you have to attack differently every time because they adjust the frequency of their shields. Come on, that's pretty cool. Okay, and then one other thing I will mention that does come up, certain things, because this is a kind of a PvP game in its core. If it ever says to discard a card, obviously the Borg does not have cards. When you discard, you can move the Borg cube 1 space to any direction. Why is that important? Well, you might want to keep it away from a certain card until you get a chance to buy it. So if I were to have the opponent, it says on there you can make the opponent discard a card. You can just slide the Borg cube over 1 to kind of more position it where it's more beneficial to you. So anyway, you keep going back and forth until you either defeat the Borg cube or it kills all of you and assimilates you, and that's your life until next season. Anyway, all right, that's how you play it. Let's see what we thought about it. Okay, I'm going to just jump into this. This is what I was talking about. When I started playing Star Trek Star Realms, I think the other review, by the way, that overview is just a very, like I said, high-level overview, not going into Star Realms, but there's a review for Star Trek Star Realms here on the channel. But what I mentioned in there is it's just a reskin, which is fine. I like it better with the Star Trek theme on it. But the whole thing is only if you do more with it. This is what I was talking about right here. This is it. This is incredible. What I didn't want them to do is to re-release everything that they had for Star Realms with just a new Trek kind of paste on, right? I wanted them to feel like the Star Trek world. This does, man. This review I'm going to talk about theme and mechanics too, but the theme on this just really, really grabs you, because as you play this game, when you first go through with it, you feel like it's not winnable, because when you first get attacked by the Borg, again, very thematic, you're like, I can't beat them. As they start pulling those cards and assimilating those cards, you're starting to get hit. They start taking cards from you, and there's so much theme that I don't even know where to start on this. As it assimilates, it then allows you to kind of pull those back. The assimilation itself, that activation, how it activates and stuff, that's great. That's a great way for this villain to work not only on its turn, on the other turns. But then it does several things. When that assimilation happens, that card is right there on the Borg ship. A few problems with Star Realms, not really problems, I guess, but things that I've noticed is sometimes there's nothing to hit, or that you don't have enough to hit, you don't have enough to buy or whatever. This allows you to build up your deck twice as fast almost, because you can use that combat to either attack the Borg ship Or you can then attack and take that assimilated card, put it back on your deck. That gets you to build your deck quicker and kind of gets you to scale up quicker. Because meanwhile, this Borg ship is going to be hitting you. It's going to be pulling cards towards you. And you all have to kind of team up and start to pull those cards, because those assimilation cards are bad enough when they go in. But when it goes into that collective and starts hitting you, that's one solid point everyone's getting hit at every single turn. So you've got to save those cards, but you have to also balance that on whether you not want to attack the Borg ship itself, because that's the whole point of the game, or you attack those assimilated cards. Then on top of that, you've got the Borg themselves that are the drones that are going onto your side. That again is brilliant. I love the fact, and that's again so thematic on that these Borg are going to come and they're going to go onto your ship, and as soon as they have enough power, they're going to grab one of your cards and take it back and try to assimilate that. And your job is to save that card, or it's going to be assimilated into the collective and it's going to make the Borg stronger. Man, it's so good on that because I love the cadence of this. The cadence of this is one of those, like at the first, when you feel like I can't win. And then you slowly get better and better. And then you start to be able to do some damage. You start to feel more powerful. And then another thing is I'll mention are the force fields. Again, force fields are so thematic. That was like one of the most scariest things about the Borg, is the fact that the first shot would go through and then it would adjust, and the force field would then start blocking it. And you're like, how do I do that? You have to keep moving the pattern and things. That's what this does. But in the game itself, it takes what a lot of, I know many people that don't play Star Realms, because it tends to be the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to focus on this faction. Right? So I'm going to keep going on this faction, because you want to have similar factions, because that's how you get those secondary abilities to fire off. So you have to, really focus on Romulan, focus on Federation, whatever. But this game itself kind of makes you diversify. It makes you have some diverse cards, because once those force fields drop, if you are only attacking with one type, your attack may be worthless. That's a big thing, and that really works in this game. So everyone has to diversify their attacks, and it starts making you do more and more and more. That's really good. I will mention one thing, by the way. If you go through here, there's a part in the rulebook. The rulebook is fine. I think it does a good job. There's one thing it talks about: force field cards. And in here it says the force field cards are double-sided. The color side represents active force field, and the gray side represents an inactive force field. Just so you know, these cards are not double-sided. These are same thing on both sides. So I think that was written for an earlier iteration of the game, possibly. But just know that going in, because that might save you a bit of time from me. I'm not going to detract anything from it, but just I keep them off the board and put them onto that force field track. You're going to find that out later as well. But yeah, so let's go back and do that itself. All the theme on this, going at it, the way it scales. Scaling this with solo is very hard, man. I never won on solo. And it's even hard on co-op when you have 3 people. We lost a couple times, then third time we won, and it feels so good. That's what I want out of a cooperative game. I want to be able to be barely inch out of victory, right? And that's what happens here. I think that feels really, really good. And on top of the gambits too, the gambits I like the fact they're kind of bringing those in if you want to play the normal Star Trek Star Realms and just have those gambits in. Same thing that Star Realms itself had, well, similar, but those are nice, something else you can add to that base. Again, the PvP mode on here, I really have no interest in this. Maybe I'll look at it later. It's a couple of pages there in the back if you want to do it. I'm glad they included it, but again, I don't think I'd play that. For me, it's all about the co-op going against the Borg ship, which is crazy. So anyway, looking at this, I'm coming in at a 9 on this. And I could probably see it going up. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I want. I want more of this. The fact this feels thematic. It feels like it's very much in the universe. The Borg reacts the same way a Borg would react. I mean, that force field changing in force. That's really good. The assimilation of cards, the drones going on your ship, grabbing cards, going back. You're saving things from the Borg ship before they go into the collective. This game is all about theme. I mean, if you like TNG, if you like the Star Trek world or whatever, if you like Star Realms, give this a chance. This is a very, very, thematic game. That's the thing. I played the Legacy of Star Realms and it was fine. This is probably my favorite thing in a very, very long time. So anyway, I'm coming in at a 9 on this. That is a seal of excellence from me. And I want to say, please do more of this. Really dive into the theme. I love this. This is immediately going in my box. I mean, this box is empty, by the way, because it is already in my base. Because I will always have this. I'll be ready to go at it. Played this with our 9-year-old, and she loved it. She said this is, and she's not one of those savants. I'm not going to say like she plays Foonshade Magnet. No, she likes Marvel Champions. Marvel United, things like that. But this one, she loves. This right here, it's so good. Definitely check this out. Anyway, so this is Borg Invasion for Star Trek Star Realms. I'm Joey Evans, and I'll see you later on the channel.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out what's happening where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.